Hello, and welcome to Three Topic Thursday with Luke and Diz.
Hello, hello.
I'm Luke, and alongside me, this is Diz. That's already his nickname.
It's already my nickname. My nickname has nicknames.
Your nickname is a nickname to a nickname.
It went from Dizzy to Diz to Dizwald, and now it's a Dizwalderson.
Yes, Diz Walderson.
How?
Huh?
How?
It's called evolution. It's science.
It's real.
It's real, all right? Because you were born John. That's your Christian name.
Little Stevie.
Yeah. You're named after... who are you named after?
My grandfather.
Your grandfather.
Yes.
Not Sam Smith, who was
No,
your
that's
great-grandfather.
my great-grandfather. Yeah.
And also the singer of that "Stay With Me" song.
Exactly. He
Yeah.
lost his leg in the mines.
Did he?
Yes.
That's not the one that bombed the place, right?
That's the other side.
Okay, all right. Different time.
Let's not ask questions.
Yeah, different story for a different time there. But so
Not
John-
a different time. We'll just let that one die.
We'll bring that, much like this. and this is leaving the podcast. All right, welcome to Three Topic Thursday with Luke, where I will debate myself over my favorite female singer.
All right. So,
Anyway,
the three topics. Let's get.
but you went from John, then you
Yes.
got the name Dizzy in high school,
Yes.
which was a rite of passage into manhood.
That's when I became a man?
That is when you became a man.
Thought it was when. Never
No,
mind.
that happened years later.
No. Many years later.
Many years later. And it takes way longer than that to become a man. Way longer than 45 seconds.
That's pretty good.
Anyway, and then you became Dizzy.
Yep.
And then you became Dizwald. And then you became Dizwalderson. And I'm trying to construct a last name that will go with Dizwalderson, and that will be the next iteration. And then
Golly.
you can go change your name legally, and the process will start all over again.
It's all got the common ancestry of Diz.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah. But anyway, this is Three Topic Thursday. We get together on Thursday. We get three topics, two good friends, one show. We got our audience here on twitch.tv/player3podcast. You can find the archives of these videos on youtube.com/player3podcast.
Two friends, one show.
It's
It has
like
a different connotation.
It's like
nowadays.
a weird video, like
Yeah.
a weird internet video here.
Let's call this.
All right. Well, let's get started.
All right.
With topic number one. Oh, I don't know what order I want to do these topics in because Bacon is the question isn't here yet.
Oh, he's not.
Hopefully he'll get here. So let's start first. We're finally through June. We're 6 months through the year, halfway done. All right, and so a lot of good games have released. My question to you is: if the year ended in June,
Will it?
like many fiscal years do,
Oh.
what is your game of the year thus far?
Well, unfortunately, it can't be the game that I'm really playing hardcore right now because Shadow of Mordor was last year.
It already won a game of the actual year.
It's like Lords of the Fallen.
Shadow of Mordor won actual game of the year awards.
Yeah, but Lord of the Fallen won it in like Denmark or something like that.
Yeah, where 3 games got released.
Oh man, it would have to go with a very early release. It was a January release of Dying Light. That's one of those games that I'm actually wanting to go back through again. I've already sold it, but I've bought Borderlands 2 4 times, so I wouldn't have a problem buying Dying Light again. But that's my style of game. High action, some customization, like the creating of the weapons. First person, just straight, as many missions as you can handle. That's what I love. So that would be my game of the half-year game of the year half.
All right, let me apologize
What?
because I didn't catch what game you were talking about because I thought the stream had dropped.
Dying Light.
Okay, I figured that was going to be
Yes.
your choice. That's
Did
kinda-
you really?
Yeah, that was going to be my guess. I wouldn't have known what my other guesses would have been, though. Like what else have you enjoyed this year?
Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah, but Shadow of Mordor didn't come out this year.
You're right.
So, okay.
Handsome Jack collection. That should have been it.
Yeah, that'd have been a total Diz answer right there.
Yeah, it would be. You're right.
Because just like you buying it 4 times, you can't win 4 game of the years.
Who says? Was the Fallen's going to win another year?
I'm trying to think of everything that's come out this year that I've really played. I mean, you had Mortal Kombat X, which was fun. You
It has limited appeal with me. It's fun for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, which is how most fighting games are for me. And they're only fun with other people around. I'm not the kind of guy who wants to sit and like play through a fighting game story or play online and get my butt handed to me all day, you know? Like that's not there are other ways of feeling sorry for myself, and playing a fighting game isn't the way I choose to do that.
I have what I think yours would be.
What's that?
You've been playing the junk out of FIFA.
I've been playing the junk out of FIFA, but that came out last year.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
I thought it was like the new one.
And to me, it's hard to give a sports game of the year just because they come out so frequently.
Okay.
And there's not that much innovation that goes into them. Mm-hmm. And so it would have to be something mind-blowing to get me to consider a sports game for game of the year. But I have been playing a lot of FIFA. But for me, it would have to be The Witcher. Mm. And I know you picked The Witcher up and you tried it and wasn't your thing. And, you know, we can maybe talk about that. But for me, The Witcher, CD Projekt Red, first of all, just handled everything about that release incredibly well. From their DLC policy to the idea of putting a book and physical things in the physical copy of the game, and giving that little thank you card to all the people who bought their game, and just the expansiveness of the world, all of the overwhelming amount of crap that you can do in there. Very fun fighting mechanic, very fun storyline, very good character development, all of those sorts of things. The voice acting is great. It's very accessible for a game a game genre that I'm not generally into. The Witcher 3 is definitely my game of the year. It's just,
I think a lot of people would agree with you there.
So tell me why you struggled.
Why I struggled. I keep making a mistake in assuming that there is a way for a game to one-up Skyrim. I keep going into games thinking like, okay, this is going to be better, it's going to be better. I made the mistake from Oblivion to Two Worlds, and I made the mistake here. So I go in assuming that, hey, this is going to be the exact same experience, but better. And then I play it, and I'm like, this is completely different. I put myself into a place that does not do justice for the company. Project CD Red, right?
CD Projekt Red, yep.
CD Projekt, man, they worked their tail off on this, and it was a beautiful game. It just wasn't my cup of tea because I felt like it was going to be to par to something that has already made its statement. That's already, a building block of video game history, such as Skyrim and all those things. So I just went in with a big head, and I'm not afraid to admit that.
Let's go back 5-6 weeks, however long The Witcher's been out. I can't remember the exact release date. It came out in May sometime. And go back to your mindset going into it, purchasing it. If you went into it again with tempered expectations of what you were picking up, and with just not even connecting it to your memory of Skyrim, even though they look very, very similar, but you're like, I'm just going to pick it up and based on its own merit, I'm going to try to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Do you think it would have been different?
It would have, but I still felt like the control, especially on Roach or when you're walking around, very clunky to me. Mm-hmm. And for a game that has such a huge world, transportation, moving around is a major part. And that would be one of my biggest turnoffs. But I think I'll give it a little bit more time, and then I can tackle it again. Because I do want to support that. Like, those guys and gals possibly did mad work on it.
I'm going to go ahead and 100% guarantee a woman worked on this game.
All right.
Considering there are female voice acted characters.
You got me there.
Yeah, because I went into it with the idea of like, I'm kind of playing this out of obligation for a couple reasons. First, because we do this, and I wanted to be able to talk about it. And second of all, because they had been doing so much right, and I wanted to support that. And so I kind of started out with a sense of obligation for it, so I bought it digitally because I was like, I don't want to have an excuse to trade this thing in or to stop playing it. So if it's on my console and I just leave it there, even if because I haven't played it in a couple weeks, just because we've been gone, I'll have a reason to go back to it. Like, it's taking up hard drive space. I want to go and I want to play it. But then when I got in there, it's like a good movie almost. Like it kind of hooks you right in the very beginning, and I wanted to be a part of it and see what all these characters were about. Now, I was kind of lost a little bit in the story. It's accessible in terms of mechanics and the way that things get explained to you. It's not necessarily accessible in the sense that it's the third step of a trilogy.
Yeah.
And there was one part, like when you're in the castle and you're getting your beard cut and all that stuff, and you're making decisions about what happened, and you're kind of shaping the story. And I'm like, I don't know what these words mean. You have a lot of proper nouns in here that I've never met or seen, and it almost lost me there. But I was like, I'm just going to stick with it, and I kind of am getting a better understanding of what's going on. And I should probably do some more reading. I got that lore book that I need to go back and look through as well.
I just wonder how much pull those initial decisions have on the story, though.
Yeah, I wondered the same thing, because when you start up the game, even before you answer those questions, you have an option to simulate The Witcher 2.
So it's almost like you're lying about some of the situations.
That's the way
you don't
I
even
felt.
know it.
Yeah, that was my confusion. Is like, has something already happened that I should know happened because I imported this Witcher 2 save, even though it was a simulation? And will this guy trap me in a lie somewhere? But to me, overall, in terms of scope of the project, in terms of quality of the project, and in just their handling of it, that game to me for the first 6 months deserves Game of the Year. Now, let's talk about this for a second within this. We're seeing more and more kind of a deviation from the idea that you have to release games in the final quarter of the calendar year, October, November, December. Your most successful games right now are releasing in those windows. You got your Call of Duty, you got your Halo, you got that's when Far Cry released. You got a lot of Battlefield used to release in that October window. A lot of your bigger games releasing in there. We've seen a very, very strong first 6 months in terms of video games. We've had Dying Light, we've had Mortal Kombat, we've had Batman, we had The Witcher. I'm trying to think. There's a couple others that I know for sure I'm overlooking. We had Battlefield Hardline come out.
We also had The Order.
The Order 1886. We had Bloodborne come out, which for a lot of people would be up there with The Witcher. And to me, in terms of what they delivered, I just wasn't good at it. But what they delivered, I think Bloodborne will be in the final cut after the 6 months we're going to go through for Game of the Year as well. So my question to you is, or just have you observed it as well? Like, do you see there being a shift in this idea of when games are supposed to release?
Not exactly, because you still want these hot ticket items to go around Christmas. I mean, that's a big push for sales right there. So even like the ones that release in October, you're still going to have those people that are going to hold out, like the kids, obviously, that the parents are just going to wait. So I mean, is there another strategic reason to release so late?
You
I'm not sure.
You mean to release in that last quarter?
Yeah.
It's holiday season,
Yeah.
and that's the reason is people are looking to spend, money where they don't generally spend money. But I think there's an even bigger strategic reason now for like Dying Light. If it were released when it was supposed to, in I think November of last year, it wouldn't have sold nearly as well as it did releasing in January, late January. Because there's so much stuff people are dedicating money to right there, which is one of the reasons like The Crew for Ubisoft didn't sell that well, because it released in that window also, and like they were going up against juggernauts, Call of Duty, Halo Master Chief Collection, a lot of big name games.
I think they're going to do it again this year, releasing something late.
Who, Ubisoft?
The Crew.
Oh, I think they have a big DLC package, but I don't know when that's supposed to come. But people are backing away, especially developers who are launching a new IP are backing away from that that holiday season, and that's going to be your Fallouts, your Battlefronts, your Call of Duties, those sorts of things that are releasing in those windows because nothing else is going to be able to stand. And I think those holiday sales are more important for platforms like Xbox and PlayStation than they are necessarily for consumers, because now people who grew up with games have jobs of their own and are making their own money and aren't limited to asking their parent to buy them a game for Christmas if they want to go out and buy it. Like, if I want a game that releases in February, I'm going to go out in February, I'm going to buy it. I don't feel a need to have to wait for it, And so I don't. But for platforms where even people our age, married people, they probably are going to wait for a holiday before they're going to purchase, piece of hardware, drop $400, $500 on a console. It's important to have those big name titles around that time when people are considering those decisions of, well, Halo's releasing in November, and so that's when I want to buy a console. I'm going to pick up my Xbox, and so it's more important in those regards necessarily. But that's just my thought on it. Like, I don't know for sure.
Well, that's great. I mean, I have nothing to add to it. It's great.
Okay.
But here's the question. You were talking about how we grew up with games, and we have the jobs that we can now support our gaming habit. I know that there's a big increase of older people getting into video games, but you think we'll be like one of the first generations that started with video games and will continue to play it in our 70s? You think it's already just ingrained in us already?
I would love to think so. I mean, at least to be in tune with the world, with that universe of video games. And I think the more and more the gaming culture ages, the more and more developers will develop things towards kind of that side. Think about the way games have matured already. It used to be plumbers saving princesses and castles and hedgehogs spin dashing and collecting coins and rings and everything that you could. And now we're playing stories where like you're having to try to deliver a girl to people who can cure a disease that swept the world. You're playing all of these. You're playing stories with much more mature content and much deeper stuff, and it's because it's maturing along with the audience. And so, I imagine by the time we're in our 60s and 70s, if we're not dead yet,
if we're lucky,
then we'll be able to. Then there will be experiences for us. I would like to think that.
Look at us.
And we're also, I don't know, man. I this is getting away from games and just to life in general of like, I guess every generation grows up being like, I don't want to be that generation that falls behind and doesn't know what's going on. And it's like, you got your tweeters and your my books and whatnots, and like we all tell ourselves we don't want to be that. And I think maybe we're living in a generation now that's way more conscious of that than any other time before. And because technology moves so fast, and because every year there's a new iPhone, and every 6 years there's a new gaming console, and every year there's a new kind of computer that comes out, and like you don't want to get left behind in it. And the way you don't get left behind in it is you just get caught up in doing it all the time. And so if we can continue to do that, I don't think we're going to fall behind in those sorts of things.
Interesting.
I don't know. I think about that stuff a lot because I don't want to be a crotchety old man. I know too many old people that have life figured out, and I don't want to be that person.
I just thought it was interesting that we're technically the first generation that started with this format and will most likely continue to use it in our old age. I think it's fascinating for some reason. We're experiencing something like with the internet. We get to experience that forever too.
Yeah. Like we as ministers work with a wide range of ages of people, and it's interesting to see how people age. And you've got some people who like the only thing they watch on TV is Andy Griffith, and it's like it's just Andy Griffith on repeat
on a glass screen TV
because I can't watch Dukes of Hazzard anymore. They took it off the TV.
They did.
But then I talk to people who are like in their 50s and 60s, and that are talking to me about Game of Thrones and talking to me about The Walking Dead, and I'm like, how do I get to be you and not him when I'm old? Because those people are in tune with what's going on, and those people are connected and they stay attached. And I think in our generation now, we feel a much bigger sense of community within those things. That people weren't getting together to have Andy Griffith watching parties. People nowadays get together to watch The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, and I want to be a part of that world. I want to be a guy who, when I'm 65, can sit and have a relevant conversation about the game of the year. You know,
Cool.
and know what I'm doing.
Excellent.
Know what I'm talking about.
I'm down
That was
with
me. That was a tie-in. We tied back into that topic because
There
we
we
kind
go.
of deviated.
Game of the year.
That's right. Game of the year. All right. So you picked Dying Light.
Yep.
And I picked The Witcher 3. All right.
Good call.
Let's move on, and I'll just send the link to Bacon if he doesn't show up in the middle of it, because I want to save the last topic for last. All right.
This is cold and disgusting, but I'm going to take it.
Oh yeah, I hate cold coffee, dude. I'm gonna make sure the audio is still working here. I'm checking the audio. This is live television
Why are you checking the audio?
because people dropped out. I wasn't sure why. Okay, I think we're all right. Okay, we got a question from Bacon. Is the question?
Yes. But bacon's also the answer.
I feel like bacon is always the answer. We went to Taco Bell today. You didn't get the bacon chicken chalupa.
Nah. It was a ranch on it because I'm not down with that.
Yeah, but you can tell them no ranch.
But that you're not getting the whole experience.
Yeah, but are you the guy who doesn't get the sauce on the quesadilla though?
Occasionally. But I've been feeling a little festive lately.
You ate that
I did.
you ate that
I think the
habanero
habanero.
in the mini
wretched.
house,
and
and you got a little adventurous with yourself there.
I did. With my. Never mind. So, what was the question that Bacon had? That was the question.
All right, so Bacon is the question asked a question. He said, if you could own gear from a game, equipment, weapons, any of that sort of stuff, and he asked this question by leaving us a tip on our stream tip stuff. What equipment would you like to own? I think is how the kids are saying it these days.
Like, but we're going to break it down.
Yeah, we're breaking it down.
Breaking it down.
Thank you for the question. Bacon is the question
And the answer.
and the answer. And so we're going to dedicate some time to this, and we're breaking it down into 4 categories: a weapon from any game, armor from any game, equipment from any game, a vehicle from any game. Where do you want to start?
Oh, man. Let's
Let's go to the mall.
go to the mall. Let's start with weapon. That's like the main thing you use in a video game. So let's start with weapon.
All right.
I like you. You start.
All right. I had a hard time with this one because I kind of have I had like a strategy in mind because I had to think about me.
I didn't have a strategy at all.
And number one, I'm not a gun guy. You know, first
Yeah,
of all,
that's true,
Like,
that's
I don't particularly have interest in guns, real life guns.
Mm-hmm.
I'll shoot virtual guns all day. All right, but I'm also a pretty good shot.
I heard.
I shot an AR-15 one time, and
Crazy loud.
for an equipment for an experiment that a kid was doing, and
You did really well.
I did pretty well. It's all the training for shooting up schools on video games. That's what video games do, right? Did you see where the California legislator Did you see where the California legislator who tried to make laws banning violent video games got arrested for racketeering? He pled guilty to racketeering. Anyway, so I'm not a real big gun guy in real life, and so, but thinking of what I wanted to do in combat, I don't want to be in the middle of it.
Okay.
Because I am, what's the word I'm looking for? Scared. All right.
Let's just say stealthy.
Yes, that's it. I'm stealthy. No, I'm terrified of getting shot in the face.
I can respect that.
I mean,
there's no coming back
you know
from
what?
that.
I'm not really scared of getting shot in the upper face. Don't shoot me in the lower face.
Like, you don't want to lose your jaw?
Like, yeah, don't blow my jaw. If you're gonna shoot me in the upper face, because the brain is behind the upper face. This is this is all anatomy right here. So shoot me in the upper face, and but anyway, so my whole strategy is to stay away from the fight. Okay. Thank you. So Terke, I don't know what that says. It's the lime green is
it's like
it's a terrible.
It's so bright. It's a
terrible font color choice. Let's see if this helps. Nope, doesn't. All right, thanks.
Here.
But anyway, so my strategy is to stay away from the fight.
Okay.
But there's no guarantees. First of all, I'm fat. Second of all, I'm slow. And so someone's going to find me. But my strategy is to stay hidden as long as humanly possible. But if I get seen, I feel stupid because I think it's called the P90 from
P90X.
It is not the P90X.
Pterodactyl. Back in trouble.
Yes, the P90 from Modern Warfare. It's a small gun. There it is. There's a
Okay.
picture
Yeah.
of it.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Thing's
with a
quick.
silencer on it. It's kind of low profile. It's a little smaller. You know, for stealth guy, I can just have it on my back. It's not gonna be very encumbering. Just gonna keep it on my back.
But I would figure if you want to stay out of the battle, you'd do some sort of like really good distance weapon.
Right. But my stealth is to get me through areas. Like if the world goes to crap, I'm gonna need to steal stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way I'm gonna fight. Like I'm not joining the military anytime soon because I'm scared. So I'm gonna have to be forced into these situations, right?
Gotcha. Yes. Thrown into the deep end.
Yeah, so I will have something that if I'm, and plus I'm not accurate enough and patient enough, because if my adrenaline's going to be pumping, dude, I'm not going to be able to hit anything from distance. So I need something like the P90 that can just spray. All right. So, but with a silencer on it, just in case I can take someone out silently, you know, shooting them in the lower face, but through the
upper face.
Through the upper face, yes. So the P90 from Call of Duty.
Oh
my
wow,
weapon.
that was very well explained.
I'm a conscious fella, all right? I have thought
man.
processes that you don't even want to see. And Tim always tells me he doesn't want to live in my brain.
I'd visit.
You wouldn't stay long. It's a terrifying place. All right, how about you? I want an equally in-depth explanation.
Okay, I can do that because the weapon I chose isn't technically a weapon. All right, I would take
What a
the
pacifist.
portal gun,
Mm-hmm.
but then that means that I can thus destroy someone in a more creative way. Let's say there's a nice volcano around.
Volcano, yes.
I'll just shoot the orange in the mouth of it and go about my business. I will then, when I run into my enemies, shoot a blue, and they're going to pop out right into the volcano. Every single one of them. Bloop, bloop. So I never have to actively kill them. They just die from falling in the lava.
They die from natural causes.
Exactly.
I don't have to explain anything to their families.
It's hard to survive the lava.
That's right. They shouldn't have been so close.
Exactly. So it's perfect. I'm just walking around, and everybody knows where the orange one's at, so they don't mess with me.
Now, how big is the portal gun? Is it?
I mean, it's kind of encumbering,
Does it
but
have some heft to it?
yeah, it's got like a big end on it.
And I can only have one blue and one orange out at a time,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So I can't just spray and pray on this thing.
No.
So if you encounter multiple enemies, you're just screwed.
I mean, you can spray and pray the same color, like blue, 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 and but it resets every time. So
What happens if I shoot one, you fall halfway through, and I shoot again?
Orange one over
does
here.
it, does it cut you in half?
No, you do this motion. It goes. That's what it does in the game.
So it alternates blue and orange, or can I set it on blue or orange?
Just whichever one. It's like, what?
You have to explain this to me. So you have the orange over the volcano.
Okay, the orange is over the
And that's
volcano.
the exit of the portal.
Officially, so whatever I hit with the blue,
Okay.
well, either can be the entrance depending on which one I'm at.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I can set my gun to just shoot blue afterwards, correct?
You would just keep hitting one specific shift button.
right.
Yeah.
So,
trigger.
but yeah, I can exclusively blue. I can fire.
Yep.
But anytime I shoot a blue, the blue I have disappears and reappears where
Yep.
I've shot.
I shoot the blue over there
So,
and then over here.
Enemy coming towards me, correct?
Okay.
I shoot blue underneath him.
He falls.
Another enemy next to him, but I shoot another one, and he's only halfway through that portal I just got done putting on the ground.
Sure,
next to him.
yes,
Does it chop him in half, leaving a gruesome crime scene for someone to have to clean up, thus taking the responsibility back into my hands because...
But it's such a clean cut. I mean, how can you prove it was me?
How hot is it? Will it cauterize it? And then do I have to worry about him continuing to fire his weapon at me?
If he's cut in half, I don't think that's a major worry anymore.
I think if he's in shock, dude, shock does crazy things to people. All right. So if he's been cauterized, if he's cut in half, cauterized right above the wiener region,
Right above. Well, if he's like falling like this, like you can lop off his elbow and his arm would still fall off.
Right. Dude's lefty, though. Right, he's got a sidearm here. He's shooting at me.
It's like, I'm bleeding out real good, but I'm going to kill you.
It's cauterized. He's not bleeding out. How hot is a portal? That's
Oh,
what
I
I'm
don't
asking.
know. Oh, I have no
When it
clue.
closes. I imagine
That's a
having
question I've never asked.
I imagine having to rip through time and space is not very cold. You know,
I'll agree with that.
a lot of energy having to go into this. So
It's incredibly hot then.
as it's closing, it's just going to sear that wound right up. He's going to
like
be
Darth
good to go.
Spoiler alert.
He's gonna be good to go. So
Should be fine. Yeah.
He's gonna be-
Because he doesn't need any of these organs down here at all.
well, one of them.
And he'd be mad if we're losing that one.
So he's gonna be doubly set on killing you.
So I'll let this one dude fall back in and I'll shoot blue underneath him again. Hopefully he'll be enough
Then it starts
shot.
over all again with this guy over here.
You're assuming that he's going to be chopped in half and be in the right mindset to continue to fight. No, he'll be like,
I'm just saying, crazier things have happened, and the burden of proof is on you now to prove me wrong. So
so I just got to build a portal gun now.
that's the way our judicial system works, Dizzy. So
gotta
you live
prove
in
it.
America. You have to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt to a jury of 12 of your closest peers. They get your friends and family to be on the jury.
So they're like, yes, he's telling the truth. Right?
Dang it.
That's how it works.
That's right. Burden of proof's
All right.
on me now at this point.
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to start with suit now. Now, I have quite the question to ask about this. But I want to use the suit that Samus wears in Metroid. Now, it'll keep me looking sleek, nice shapely body that when I have it on, you know.
Do you get the womanly figure? Or
You know it. But here's the weird thing: I am not limber at all. I can't even touch my own toes. I can't touch my own toes.
you ever seen Bryson try to do that?
No, is he amazing?
No.
Oh,
No, he gets like to his knees. Like he can barely put his hands on his knees.
wow. Well, I'm not that horrible, but I'm pretty bad. So when I turn into a ball, will it break me in half? I think it might. Because
Is
that's
it-
one of the big things about that suit is being able to turn to a ball and
Roll.
roll. I would be in searing pain.
But I mean, it's only just after the searing pain that you put that guy through after cutting him in half with a portal.
And I'm dropping those bombs out my butt when I go poop. They
You're
come
pooping
out.
bombs. You're already halfway there.
Just gotta get a little more limber, I guess.
Yeah. It's probably like the Spartan suit. Like you got to be of certain scientifically
Oh, yeah.
generated physique before you can have the option of wearing it.
But what if it had like an automatic mechanism that just crumples me into the ball anyways? And I just get used to it after a while.
Ask somebody how many times you have to break your back before getting used to it. Like, oh gosh, yeah. Oh, broke my back again.
We'll just keeps that.
we'll just fight through
I'm just
it.
getting stronger. All right.
Yeah, so. But there's other capabilities this suit has. Like weapon capabilities and stuff. It turns your whole entire arm into a gun, right?
Truth. And I can change it into other types of photon weapons.
So you don't even need the portal gun.
That's a bonus. Actually, I would use that more.
The portal gun?
Yeah.
And plus, that's just fast travel, too, for you. It
Okay.
kind of doubles.
But then I forget that I have the orange mix of the volcano.
Yeah. You're shooting this thing down into
All
it.
right, I'm out. There goes everything.
You die like you poop in a fiery explosion.
Where I want to go. Where I want to go.
Can't say I always thought it'd end like this, but I have to say I always knew it would. Jumping from an airplane dressed as Abe Lincoln. For me, for the armor, sticking with the stealth idea, I'm going to have to go with the Octo camo from Metal Gear Solid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to lose some weight to get into this thing, first of all, because this is not going to be flattering on current Luke physique. But in the future, possibly, may look awesome.
I'll work on my flexibility.
Yeah, you're going to have to do a lot of yoga. And I'm just going to have to do a lot of not eating a lot of the things I eat today. But yeah, so I'm going to get into this Octo camo suit, because what it does is it allows my body to change colors based on what I'm up against, like a chameleon, which I believe a chameleon, chameleonaire, whichever.
But
Is
Is it a
Chameleon still a rapper? Is he still active?
Yes.
What's the last song he did?
Um,
I don't know. I don't know if I can tell you one Chameleon song.
Riding Dirty?
Was that him?
I don't know. I'm guessing.
I don't think it was, but it might have been. They see me rolling, they hating, patrolling. They're trying to catch me riding dirty.
Is the suit stationary? Like you have to stay...
Yeah, it takes a moment for it
Okay.
to detect. Like it doesn't just like while I'm running just shift what the background is. So
Okay.
it takes some time. But I'm going to be doing a lot of hiding anyway. You know, probably in the stock room of some form of a fast food restaurant.
But then you'll gain more weight, and then the
I'll
suit
be
is
bursting
less
out of-
flattering.
I'll be bursting out of the suit, out of the seams of it. But what I'm hoping for is it just kind of contains me like a corset,
So you never take it off.
which is different than a corsage. It's English for you.
Go figure.
2 words meaning 2 different things. Who'd have thought?
So you would never take the suit off.
No.
But then you would start smelling odd. And they could totally see through the camo because of smell.
Then I would get the poopery, spray it on myself.
just
I imagine the suit's waterproof. Snake gets into water a lot,
He does.
and
He
it
really
kind of
does.
looks like a wetsuit.
Okay.
So I'll just dive in the water every now and then.
So that's the one
Put
time,
myself on the spin cycle.
That's the one time that hiding under the box would be completely terrible to do. You're invisible. No, or that could be great. They lift the box and there's nothing there. They think they're crazy.
It's just a shadow. And this is when I became nothing but a shadow.
Just follow this guy around the rest of his life. See his marital issues. You're like, man, should have killed this guy.
If I'm propped up against you, do I just look like you? What's up, Nico San? We're doing a show called 3 Topic Thursday. We're talking right now about gear from video games that we would like. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that follow button. But yeah, so it's just going to allow me to kind of stay out of sight, which is
Okay.
my combat method of choice.
Again,
I'm a camping noob tuber in real life.
No.
I'm a run and gun kind of guy in video games, but
Here's an issue. You got your P90.
yes.
For it to match your camouflage, it needs to be under the suit.
I would
Unless you're just a
no,
floating gun.
I'll get it That'd be awesome. But I'll just get it covered in it. Covered in that.
So how are you going to reload if it's all completely covered?
Huh? I can still.
Infinite ammo.
That's right. I'm gonna infinite ammo glitch. I don't plan on using this P90 very much.
Okay.
It's a last resort kind of thing. I'll choke someone out with piano wire, Hitman style, before I.
I don't know if it's so much choking as much as just cutting their arteries, right?
Is it?
Garroting.
You got to just start.
You just got to saw
start
back
rocking
and
that
forth.
thing back. Just hold on 1 second. Don't shoot me in the upper face yet. All right, I'm working through here. Give me 10 seconds to prove I can do it. Then I'll let you shoot me.
Done.
That's acceptable.
I can agree.
So yeah, that's fine.
I like it.
It's not really armor. It's a suit.
It's a smart suit.
Yeah. I don't know if it's even a little bulletproof. We'll try it later.
What if it's not good in water and the circuits just fry?
I don't plan on I don't like getting in water I can't see the bottom of anyway. So if it's between getting shot in the upper face or hopping in the ocean, just shoot me in the upper face.
Oh gosh.
There's a lot of shark attacks
Well,
going on in North
But
Carolina
they
now.
couldn't see you.
Huh?
They can't see you.
After shooting me in the but I don't have it. The snake doesn't have it on its face.
So you're just a floating head?
But remember, dude, it doesn't actively cover as I'm running. Like I got to be up against it and hiding, and for a couple seconds before it takes over. So it's just a black suit until then.
Okay. I can dig it.
So I only move at night. But yes. Anyway, what else we got? So we got the weapon. We got our suit. Let's talk equipment.
Equipment. Oh, this was a tough one, but I think
But
I got it.
It's tough because it's broad. Like this equipment just covers anything that doesn't shoot people. But yours does, I think.
Mine does shoot people. You're right.
What is it? Tell me about it.
Mine is the saber turret from Borderlands. The reason why I like it is because when I play as Axton, that's my thing. I just throw it and I run. It's perfect. You can do these great upgrades with it. But the reason why I like it so much is not because it's efficient and it's effective and it just kind of disintegrates back into my whatever he uses to keep it. But Axton seems to have this romantic relationship with it. calling it baby, calling it honey, being real close with it. And when you're out there on the run, saving the world, you gotta have a little bit of romantic interest with a piece of machinery.
I'm trying to decide if I like it or not.
Have you used it? Then
No.
you don't know.
Don't knock it till you try it. Nico's saying Snake's suit is made of octo camo, which when leaned up against something will blend into the color, much like a chameleon or a chameleonaire.
Millionaire.
But back to this turret that you're in love with.
Yep.
Is it...
Sentient? No. Not
What?
at all. Sentient?
That's not what I thought you said.
Oh. Please, what did you
No,
hear?
we're good.
Sensual?
Is it that?
No.
Can you draw me a picture of it?
Yes, you won't like it though.
Here. You draw me a picture of it.
Just go on Google and
Oh, yeah,
just type
I guess-
in these
I guess the
words
internet's better.
that I'm going to say to you.
Okay. All right.
PEN
Hold on.
Island IS
.com. Oh, man. Anyway, so back to this turret that you're in love with. Do you have
I'm
to
not
is it
personally in love
temperamental?
with it. No, it does exactly what it needs to do.
So it's like a robot.
You throw it out, it shoots,
Can
it survives.
Can it love you back?
I haven't tried.
Not love that gamer wants to know if we're gay. It's the world's greatest mystery.
Well,
There's a
you
whole
see that we
Wikipedia.
both have rings.
So there's a whole Wikipedia page dedicated to answering that question. They're trying to dig up the evidence they have yet to discover. But regardless of that, so you're in love with this turret in a weird way, and it can't love you back. So is it real love?
Yes. What is love, though?
Baby, don't hurt me.
It's going to be incredibly helpful because you just throw it, and when it gets destroyed, you just throw it again. It's beautiful.
Is it the same one or a different one?
You know,
is that one disposable?
I don't know. I think it would be the same one because it kind of just like pixelates
Oh,
and
okay.
reappears.
That's good that you're not just like hopping down the train.
Look at that! Look at that! Look at that!
This
look
is
at
a
that.
fantastic
Look at that mug.
picture of.
Look at that mug.
Why'd you buy that for?
It's not hers. I want to buy it,
Oh,
but it's her mom's.
Welcome to Personal 3 Podcast here. And Nico San said that we can only hope that we are. This has been a crazy show. All right, so you want to fall in love with the turret as your equipment. I'm going to pick the Ghost from Destiny, the Dinklebot.
I haven't played it, man. I don't know.
Okay, there's some...
And she's trying again.
Okay, you want to answer that, and I'm going to explain to them about the
Go
Ghost.
for it.
All right. So...
Is the house on fire? Is the house on fire? I'm at the podcast.
We're doing a show right now.
We're on the
ladies and
show
gentlemen,
right
live
now.
television.
You are on the show.
This is the answer to that question, not love that gamer. This is his wife that doesn't know yet.
Yeah, and wait for me to arrive.
Waiting to arrive at the home of
Okay.
Lizzie. But-
I'll tell you in a moment. Okay, boy.
Oh,
And I'm back.
that happened on Kind of Funny the other day. His dad called and he was like, "Hey, Dad, I'm doing a show right now. I'll call you back." And then he hung up and he's like, "My dad never calls me."
Oh,
It was
gosh.
turned very sad.
Was it something very important?
I don't know,
Jeez.
but anyway, as far
Golly.
as equipment goes, I'm gonna go with the Ghost from Destiny, the Dinklebot. I'm gonna open this up to you.
Now he's hot. As I'm freezing.
Well, we started talking about falling in love with robots and
Yeah,
some,
this
you
guy's a
just
little
can't-
steamy,
Just
got a little
can't
steamy.
contain yourself. All right, the Ghost is what resurrects you in the beginning of the game.
Okay. It's a wall.
Perk number 1, right there. Huh?
Ooh, it resurrects you.
Yeah. So when I die, that thing can just raise me. Right from the
Dang.
dead.
So even when you're sneaking around and you get their upper face destroyed, you can always come
Boom.
back.
Dinklebot comes in and is like, "I'll put your brain back together."
Isn't it also Peter Dinklage?
Yeah, it's Peter Dinklage.
Gosh!
He fits inside of the Ghost. It's insane.
Well, of course he does.
Yeah. Fun sized. But anyway, remind me to tell you something interesting about midgets after the show.
Little people.
Sorry.
Golly.
But
jeez.
anyway, so he
Political-
resurrects you in the
Politically
beginning.
Correctness 3 podcast.
The ghost gives you all sorts of perks. All right, so it can do simple tasks. It floats next to you. You don't have to hold it. It floats next to you. It has a light on it that can light the way when it gets dark. It can unlock doors for you that are locked and that you would not like them to be locked anymore. So I don't have to break into your house anymore. I can just get right in. You know, I don't have to break into the storage room at a fast food restaurant. I can just.
I hate having to. I keep having to replace the door lock at the house, but now it's useless.
Yeah. Exactly. So
I have to keep buying new pairs of underwear. It's ridiculous.
So it has that, but the coolest thing about the Ghost, and I guess if I'm doing this, I'm talking about the Ghost and my transport ship, because if I'm storing stuff in my transport ship, I can summon it through my Ghost. It dematerializes from the ship, rematerializes through my Ghost, and I can get it. This is the reason that if I'm in the middle of a firefight in Destiny, I can switch weapons whenever I want to. And I don't have to wait to respawn because my ship and my Ghost handles all of it.
Also, you don't need to have your P90 on your back.
Right, I can just summon it with my Ghost. So there you go. And I can have a whole slew of weapons up there. Goodness. Like the energy sword from Halo, which was a close second for me. But it glows really bright. But I figure I can kill whoever sees me.
That lunge, man.
It provides you with the lunge. I'm going to say that's the sword, not
because if you're invisible and I'm not seeing a body and I'm seeing a sword, I'm like, okay, that's mine. I go up to it and then you can lunge and kill me, and it's beautiful. It's perfect.
It's a beautiful death. It's such a bright, glowing light, and you get to see just the beauty of that as I'm wearing my double XL Octo camo suit. And
the last thing I see is just the skin tight suit on you.
So it's like a mixture. It's bittersweet.
It's like, okay. I can't up that. That's perfect.
I know.
My vehicle.
No. Equipment. Oh yeah, vehicle. We're talking about vehicle.
Because you said it's your ship, right?
Well, I'm getting there. Just continue.
That's not your vehicle. You get two vehicles.
You have a transport ship. That's part of my equipment. I don't want to fly intergalactically. I have zero interest in that. So it's serving the only purpose as being a 25-mile high storage unit that dematerializes my stuff.
All right, I can dig that.
So okay, vehicle,
man. I'm the like loud, get in there, blow stuff up kind of guy. I mean, I'm just running to people, portaling them into a volcano, rolling around with my broken back.
The funny thing is we've swapped on this. We used to always talk about zombie survival scenarios, which makes us sound lame, but we had a 5-hour drive, that we had to do twice a week. And so we'd talk about this all the time. And you were always like, I'm going to be the distance guy. Let me be the distance guy. And I'm the guy who's like... Because
zombies is realistic, all right?
Yeah. And I was always like, I'm the guy that wants to feel it. I want to be down there with a hatchet, hacking people's heads off. Indiscriminately. Zombie, human, doesn't matter. Just everyone's getting a hatchet. Everyone's getting a hatchet.
You get a hatchet. You get a hatchet.
It's really all the same hatchet, but you'll get it for a couple seconds. But then you got to surrender it back to me. Lifeless.
Off of my head, yes.
Yeah.
My upper face.
But regardless, so you like to get in there and blow stuff up.
Yeah. Well, in this reality.
Yeah.
Not the possible reality.
Like the real reality.
I would go with Sweet Tooth. Now, that is not the name of the character. All right. His name is Kane. But the ice cream truck from Twisted Metal, Sweet Tooth. Because that thing, creepy. First of all, but also it has amazing armor and homing missiles. So here I am with my portal gun in my Samus armor, with my turret in my side here, riding around this creepy ice cream truck.
Is this turret riding in the passenger seat, buckled up while you whisper?
Duh.
Okay.
It's actually more in the middle, and I'm riding like this.
It's got like the truck bench seat.
You got it.
I like it. I like it.
So that's what I want because it's just super effective.
I'll allow it.
Well, I hope so. Because you get two ships.
Well, one is a 25-mile high storage unit. The other is a ship. It's not really a ship.
Is it Normandy?
Huh?
Is it the Normandy?
Normandy was a battle in the war.
From Mass Effect.
Normandy,
well, you don't like intergalactic spaceship.
I don't want to travel to other planets, dude. I have zero desire. Because if your face mask cracks...
Ooh.
And you're like stuck in the middle of nowhere, dude.
If you're in the vacuum of space, your face will just come out the little crack.
I will never be able to see that Julia Roberts movie.
Oh, yeah.
What was it?
Gravity.
Yeah, no.
Pretty Woman.
That too. I'm like, What if I was happy in my life as a call girl in New York? Why do you have to save me from that, Richard Gere?
It was, wasn't it?
Yes. How did we get here? What are we doing with our lives?
Continue with your vehicle.
Oh man, my vehicle is from Destiny. It tags along. It comes with my Ghost, and that is the Sparrow. All right, because again, I don't have. It doesn't have to be with me all the time. The Sparrow is a bike that I can summon from my 25-mile high storage unit. That anytime I need it, it can be beamed down to me. So let's say I'm stealthing around through a Taco Bell that's being occupied by a lot of government aficionados, and I am in desperate need of a chalupa, and I'm sneaking in there. Crap goes down.
Well,
I've
of course the crap's
got,
going to go down the Taco Bell.
of course, I've already got the chalupa shell. I'm not bailing without it. If I've made it this far, we're going all the way. But things start to get hot. All right, I lean up against something. I'm hidden. I call in my Sparrow. Comes down. Pew! I'm taking off, and my Sparrow summoning it from right there, and I'm gone. And I'm going to get the tumbler like I got when I got the Dark Below, and I can just... No, House of Wolves, and I can just flip and roll that thing all that I want to.
I'm going to have to trust you on that.
It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait to see that.
I'm going to be decked out. Got my P90, got the Octo camo suit with the Ghost and the Sparrow, and my upper face is just completely intact.
I gotta pee so bad right now.
Oh gosh.
That coffee hit me hard.
Here you go, buddy.
Coffee hit me hard.
Here you go. Well, you go pee, and I'm going to tell them about who we are, and then we'll get back for the third topic.
You might be surprised how
Is
long
that
it'll
good?
take.
No, that's all right. Anyway, we are Three Topic Thursday with Luke and Diz. We are a part of a team called the Player 3 Podcast. We get together every Monday. There's actually 5 of us. We talk about video games, and it's kind of more of a structured show where we talk about the releases of the week and the news that's going on. We give some reviews on that show. We have a lot of stuff that goes on that, and that comes on Mondays at 4. We push that out on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, youtube.com/Player3Podcast. We're all over the place. We still have another topic that we're going to get to here momentarily. But Nico San, you asked if we're looking for a third. We've already got a third and a fourth and a fifth, and we're really just kind of a local kind of thing that we got together back in September when Destiny came out and wanted to talk about video games and invite you guys to listen in on those conversations. And so we're a local gathering of friends that just like talking about games, and that's who we are. So unfortunately, we are not looking for a third because mostly we're trying to avoid people calling in remotely and looking. We want people who can be here, sit down, and we can laugh and talk about pretty women, pretty women, little women, pretty little women. Go away, little girl. That's a really creepy song that was an actual song. But anyway, see, I can vamp while you pee. How's your pee? Tell me about it.
I'm going to read the future.
Was it yellow?
Not as dark as it usually was.
That's good.
That's a good thing.
That's really good. Anyway, all right. Third topic. We all wept at the cancellation of Silent Hills.
That broke my heart.
Everybody wept. Even people who don't play video games. It got announced and the world started crying, and some people were like, I don't know why I'm crying. But it was because Silent Hills got canceled. Let me pull this article up, which means I need to go to Fatchy Book, which is what the French call Facebook.
Like that game was a major reason why I bought a next-gen console. I was holding out for a long time, guys.
Yep, and then they just stomped on all of your dreams here. Oh, crap. Well, there. Yeah, sure. Clicked on the wrong link. So, anyway, the world wept at this, and everyone was like, well, and then they took PT off the stores, and PT, one of the scariest experiences that you can have.
Why take that off, though? I mean, it's technically a standalone thing.
Well, because it stood for something that wasn't going to come to exist that people were very disappointed about. And so if you allow this thing to continue to exist and at the end of it, it teases a game that's never going to come, then I don't agree with it. And I especially don't agree with me being locked out of being able to go back and re-download it, even though I've already downloaded it. Like, despite the fact I've already downloaded it before, I don't agree with all that stuff. But from a company standpoint, I guess it sort of makes sense. And then one day, if it does come back up, you can say, hey, we're going to put PT back out on the store, and people are going to get excited and hype about it again. And, even though some people will remain to be bitter about it. But
Okay.
we talked a lot about PT, and I guess we'll talk a little bit more about PT in the midst of this. But we have a game that is being I don't know who's developing this. I don't think this article says. This is an article from Kotaku. It says, "Forget Konami. We have Allison Road, a new horror game that is heavily inspired by the Silent Hills demo. Here's how the developers describe it. The game sounds like a mix between Silent Hills and Five Nights at Freddy's, weirdly enough. Here we go. Quote, you will take on the role of the unmanned protagonist who wakes up one day without any recollection of prior events. Over the course of 5 nights, it is your objective to uncover the whereabouts of your family, unravel the mysteries of the house, and face off against dark entities that are nested deep within the house while the clock is relentlessly ticking towards 3 a.m. What would you do if you could feel something stalking you in the dark in the safety of your own home, if you couldn't tell what's real and what's not?" End quote. And they released a little gameplay prototype, 13-minute thing, and it looks awesome. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to drop this link in the chat if anyone's in here and is interested in what this
watched
is.
it all as soon as you sent it to me. The graphics are crazy amazing for someone. Like, is it? I'm guessing it's just like an independent company or even just a person, but
Yeah,
it was spectacular.
You could tell one of the best things about PT was its photorealism and that it kind of captured the essence of this is a home, people live here, and it wasn't like creepy haunted house. It was this is somebody's house, and it is and terrible things are going on here, and it brought this connection to the real world. Whereas I walked around my house, I felt this sense of creepiness afterwards that kind of stuck with me after a couple days. And this game captures that again. The house is extremely detailed. You hear the footsteps of yourself as you're walking through. You hear the sound effects going on from the outside. There's very little in terms of background music or anything like that. It's all kind of natural noises, and I was impressed. I was really impressed by what they did. And so let's talk about this for a little bit. And you've watched playthroughs of PT at least.
A bunch, yeah.
And so let's talk about ways that this is similar and maybe ways that this deviated a little bit. And then we talk about it all the time on the podcast on Monday. We always get into some horror discussion for somehow. But me and you have never had that conversation on air. And so I don't even know if we've had that conversation not on air. So this is all going to be brand new. So I'm excited about that. But let's talk about Allison Road for a second. The 13 minutes that you watched. In comparison to PT, what jumped out to you as either really good or not so good?
Okay. In comparison to PT, the whole feel of it was spot on. Like, it almost felt like this could have been the actual game. And I hope a lawsuit doesn't come because of it. But it felt just like it. But it also felt like kind of a copycat as well. The hallway with the light on the chandelier looked kind of reminiscent, and the fact that you see a girl creeping around is very reminiscent. But you also really didn't have a clear direction of what to do. Seemed very similar, but I feel like this one took this next step of experiencing the game. Like you could pick up almost anything in the Allison Road. Like you were picking up a remote control, picking up letters, picking up a PlayStation controller. Like that was really cool to me. So what I think it did right, it does feel like PT. It feels like what they could have released. What it didn't do very well was I thought the voice acting was just wretched. He's like, my head, I gotta go take a leak. Like this is lame.
My favorite is when he picks up the picture and he goes, pretty.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you woke up with no recollection of what's happening, and you were worried about the attractiveness of this woman in this Polaroid picture, who, let's be honest, man, wasn't all that attractive. I paused it to make sure.
So the voice acting was tough. It was tough. But I love horror. Horror.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really difficult to get me to jump at something, but this did. When you turn the corner and you see that flinch, that twitch, got me.
I'm actually more interested in this full game if this is what it's going to be like. You know, if that's what this whole game's going to be like, then I would have been in Silent Hills. And people can get at me whatever they want. We saw a little bit of Silent Hills gameplay stuff. Just that I think it was at Gamescom they showed a little bit. You know, like it wasn't a lot, but the thing that jumps into my mind is the giant woman with the giant hands that's crawling down the hallway at you, and it's like I liked. Horror to me, and we'll talk about this more in a minute, is deeply rooted in reality in a sense of what something that can actually happen, even if it's linked somewhat with a supernatural crossover world, but like that it's subtle and it interacts with me on my own turf, and I'm not going to some big haunted house or going to these places. And it felt like, even though PT captured that in a very good way, that Silent Hills was going to go a little more over the top with it. And so seeing that this is going to be a game where I'm going to spend 5 nights in this house that is photorealistic, is beautifully built and rendered, like that excites me more. Of I'm going to explore the horrors of my own turf and not necessarily have to go to some supernaturally haunted place that it's come to me, and I like that a lot. I think the game just needs to do away with the voice acting altogether, because while you felt like you still had that sense of not knowing what to do next, I felt like it kind of was a little too forward. When he wakes up and is like, oh, I need to take an aspirin. It's like, okay, well, now my objective is to find an aspirin. And he finds the aspirin after hearing an omniscient voice say that he can see him. And he's like, I need to get a glass of water. Like, and then he picks up the phone and is like, not going to need that right now.
Yeah.
You're not? Yes, the cops can't help you anyway. But so, if it did away with the voice acting altogether, because PT was a game of exploration, and it was so I love talking about PT because it's just so good. It gives you a sense of exploration in a space that is not big at all. I got 2 hallways in a room, but yet I felt like there was so much to discover in it, and because it changed every time you went through, and like what's different, and you know, you got. Hello, oh, boys and girls. Larry is here on the podcast. Larry Hunt, the always visually stunning Larry Hunt. Welcome him, boys and girls. We're talking about Allison Road.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of creepy.
Yeah, very creepy.
What'd you eat?
Hot fries.
Delicious.
That's all I ever eat. Scary game. Not as scary as PT, but pretty scary.
Potentially, it has the potential to be as scary as PT if they just make some minor adjustments, which they're in pre-alpha prototype footage. It's being wonderful. You guys are going to see Jurassic World.
Oh, nice.
Spoiler alert, there are going to be dinosaurs in it.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
Oh, my gosh. See, I saw the trailer and I thought it was cats.
You've seen some pretty jacked up cats in your life, haven't you?
You haven't seen the cats version?
No.
You should Google that.
I'll Google it after the show. After I tell Diz something really interesting about midgets. Little people.
Thank you.
Big World?
No, not the TLC show, the actual ones, not the fake ones. I guess those are actual ones too. Who knows?
Wow.
Who knows these days?
So insensitive.
Anyway, back to Allison Road.
I think little people is just a social construct.
We were talking about this earlier, how apparently everything now is a social construct. Your existence is a social construct.
Interesting. I don't
Okay,
know.
I'm leaving.
I don't know what this conversation was about.
All right, love you, Larry.
I love you. Enjoy. It's a wild ride.
All right, but scrap the voice acting away altogether. I want to have that sense of exploration. Like if I go here, this happens. If I go there, this happens. And you know, don't try to guide me in any way, because it was the sense of not knowing what I'm doing mixed with the creepiness of the house, mixed with the sense of exploration that I had in PT that made it terrifying to me. And, oh, I got to take a leak, takes me out of it. Like, that takes the immersion away. The other thing that I thought was like, okay, is being able to walk outside of the house whenever I want to is like, I don't want to be able to do that.
Well, something's obviously going to happen back there.
Yeah, but why am I going to stick around? Like if all this crazy stuff is happening in my house, and I
You
don't
can
care,
get out.
I don't care about girl screaming at the 11-minute mark. Okay, I don't care about her up in that room. Whatever happened to her is going to happen, regardless of whether or not I run up there. Right? There's a ghost that's making the lights go on and off. I'm not going to be able to save her.
He
So
also shows like zero concern for it.
yeah, he has a little bit more pace to his walk. But it would be cooler if I walk out into the backyard when everything's normal. I walk back in and then I can't get out, and it's like that confinement. That was the other thing that PT did so well. It was like the atmosphere just kind of pressed on you, even though there was so much to explore and discover. It was like these are the only 2 corridors I have, and I can't get out of that door until I get the scary thing to happen to me, and I don't want that. But I thought it gave some cool callbacks to PT when he picks up that piece of paper, and on the back it says "Dad was such a drag." I'm like, I like when companies do that, or when developers do that, and they just kind of give a little shout out to the stuff that inspired it, and it very clearly was. It's not a PT ripoff; it's inspired by PT. So yeah, but those were the 2 things: the voice acting and the fact that I can go to the backyard whenever I want, because I'm gone. I'm out. I'm over that wall. Later, we'll see you at whatever funeral we plan for you. So anyway, Double Two Rubble wants to know if we're the creature he's been hearing all about. What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. Make sure you guys hit that follow button. Right now, we're talking about Allison Road. I'm going to drop the link in again. This is the spiritual successor to PT. So, anything else you want to mention about the game itself? It's only 13 minutes. We can only talk about it so long. But
I'm excited for it, man. I mean, it's showing a Sony controller. Is it only coming out for that?
No. It's only announced for PC right now.
Oh, okay.
There's Xbox has already been made aware of it, and acknowledgedly made aware of it, and Sony can't have gotten this far without knowing about it. So if not, tweet it at YoSP. That's our good friend Shuhei Yoshida. So tweet at him and let him know about it as well. All right, let's just talk about horror, because I love talking about horror, and I want to know your thoughts on it, because I know the horror movies you like. You know, like Human Centipede is your favorite movie.
You got
of
it.
all time.
And close second is Human Centipede 2. The new one's coming out when they use a bunch of prisoners.
2's already out.
3's coming out.
3 that's going to use all the prisoners. But anyway, so horror. What to you makes horror? Horror.
You're saying horror.
What makes good horror to you?
It needs to be psychological. All right.
Okay.
You know, you get these movies, especially the old ones, that. Oh, hello.
Hello, child.
Little human, how are you?
Larry's daughter. We're babysitting Larry's daughter. This is us watching Larry's daughter.
Bye. She's not even one. She's good. Like in the older movies, and a lot in today, but it's built on that tension that's building. But I'm not a fan of the tension, because when you get that tension building, when you get that eerie music, when you get that slow walk into something, that is telling you to put your guard up. That's telling you to prepare for something. That's telling you to, all right, there's something going to happen. You're going to react to it. That to me isn't really terror. Terror is facing something without being prepared, without being ready for it. So I'm more of a, out of the blue jump scare kind of guy rather than the building tension, because, when that tension comes up, I'm just like, okay, something's going to happen. Boom, it happens. And then, it rises, then it drops. Well, if you just give me a jump scare like in Drag Me to Hell, when the dude's like conjuring and it goes, love it, because it gives you that cold blood feel, the stomach drop, because you're not expecting it, you're not prepared for it. It just hits you, and that's what I love about horror. Is I love that it catches me off guard. That's what you do when you go to a horror movie. You want to get scared. You don't go in there and be tough about it. That's lame. But when the tension happens, I know what to expect. But I also like it when the tension happens and nothing. Happens. That's also pretty good.
That's one of my key features in horror and it's something I felt like the first Insidious did really well, and they got worse at as they moved on through 2 and 3, was that building of tension to just let you down at the end, and it almost gives you relief, and that's what gets you to kind of relax and be like, all right, I'm gonna make it through, and then bam, something happens. Now, let me ask you this: what are some of your favorite horror movies? And I'll talk about some of mine, and that'll maybe help us to.
Well, unfortunately, I can't watch many recently. My wife is not a fan at all of horror movies. She can't do it. So I only have times, when I'm home alone to watch. But I love Drag Me to Hell. That's such a wild ride. It's not even, a serious horror movie, but it's got those elements that just kind of, not at all the old-fashioned ones. I mean, I love The Strangers. That's pretty fun. It has a lot of tense moments in it, but it also has a lot of moments where it catches you off guard. Golly. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
She's not happy.
She's crying because we're talking about scary things.
We are. But those are my top ones. Golly, let me process.
I'll let that marinate for a second, and I'll talk about mine.
It's a big thing.
My favorite horror movie of all time is The Strangers because it's deeply rooted in reality.
Very much.
Like it doesn't even have. To an extent, it does, and it just has to be a movie. But it's not over the top in the sense of like villain omniscience, where the villains just happen to know where you're at all times. Like you don't get that sense. Like the tension is wholly built on the emotions of the victims and not knowing where people are, and all of the hunting and all of the searching that happens in that movie is very, very natural. Like in the end, when she's hidden in the closet and the guy walks in. Doesn't know she's in the closet, discovers her in there. He doesn't walk in already with the knowledge of it, and he doesn't pop up with his face in it either. Like he just discovers it, and it's very natural. And there's a humanness to the villains in that story, despite the fact that what they're doing is grisly and heinous and awful and psychotic. There's a humanness to it in the sense of human beings are legitimately capable of doing what these individuals are doing to these people. And that's terrifying to me. That is a movie wholly rooted in reality that I find very scary. So The Strangers is up there. Then, again, where the supernatural meets you. I'm not into campy stuff where you go and discover horror, but when it happens to you, so like Sinister is really, really terrifying to me. Even though it's kind of... I like that also because it plays differently on the new house trope, where... he buys this home in order to do investigative journalism about horrific murders. Like they don't just buy a new house and the stuff starts happening. Then I can never remember the name of it. It was on Netflix. It's a Spanish movie. I think you watched it with me. Here, have you thought of any others?
Well, I was going to transition because I think you made a really good point that I want to add on to.
Okay.
I'll give you some time.
Oh, I know how I found it last time. It's called The Baby's Room.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, it's like a feature on. It's like 6 horror movies that you watch, but essentially it's the old trope of this new married couple moves into a new place, they have a kid, but the scariness starts when they buy a video baby monitor and. The guy wakes up in the middle of the night, looks over, baby's crying, but it's okay. He's going to wait it out. And then the baby starts crying more. And he looks back over, and there's a guy leaned up against the crib looking into the crib. And the ending of it's not that satisfying, but the horror within it, to me, is very, very satisfying. So there's that. And then I'm a big, big fan of the first Insidious movie because of the false tension that it built within it, and the storyline. That movie would be a lot better without the last 15 minutes. Maybe the last 10 minutes. The ending of it's great. At the very, very end of it, not the story wrap up, but the very end of it with the lady, like that's terrifying to me. Old pictures are really scary to me, and the idea that this guy had gone his whole life with this woman being in the back of the picture, like in the background of all these pictures, is really scary to me, like stalker kind of stuff. So, which. Never mind. That's a spoiler. I'm going to stay away from that.
Gotcha.
But anyway, go ahead.
But you said that the horror movies are becoming more deeply rooted in reality, and that is very important to me. That's where I see horror movies are evolving towards. because it went from, oh, this dude in a mask is chasing me around, to psychological endurance. Now, have you ever seen Devil's Rejects?
Mm-mm.
All right, it's no longer, all right, here comes the rising tension. Boom, it's over. I'm good. It's sitting there and experiencing something for a long duration of time. Like, horror to me now is like Devil's Rejects. There's a scene where the killers, who are the main characters, have these people hostage in a hotel room, and it's just 15 minutes of just horrible, like, agonizing things they force them to do, and you're just sitting there trying to endure it because it's so real. It's not like, oh, the killer's around the corner, he's going to stab you. It's like, no, they're right here face to face, forcing these people to do these ridiculous things for their entertainment. And it's just an endurance of, can you withstand this horror? Because it's so real. You could be in the situation. It's not, yoink, you're dead. It's, okay, you got to sit here and watch it slowly.
Were you a fan of the first couple Saw movies?
I saw them in the theater, but I put that in a different category of the scene that I'm thinking of. It's chilling because it's not quick. You got to sit and you got to take it. You got to think about it. It affects you mentally. It makes you, like, that movie makes you feel terrible inside after you're done watching it because it's just so grisly and so plausible.
Yeah.
So I agree with you completely. If it's deeply seated into reality, whew, it's tough.
Yeah, and for my own entertainment purposes, I'm not a big gore guy. And oh no, I refreshed the page because our video had stopped. I was making sure it was still going. Cybernethy talked about how he finds horror in long periods of silence where whatever is haunting you slowly sneaks up on you and is all of a sudden there. And I like tension building in those ways. And even if it's tension building that leads to, there's another great movie, The Caller, I think is what it's called. And I watched it with Brandon one night. It's about a girl who moves into an apartment and begins getting this phone call from a lady who's at the beginning it's a wrong number, and then she starts to discover like she's getting more. And again, it ends up being something supernatural, not rooted in reality. But the majority of the film is done in reality. Mm-hmm. But the thing I love about that is in the moments of tension, it doesn't result in a jump scare. It results in some sense of relief at the end. But during the moment of tension, you will catch a glimpse of the villain in the story. And Brandon was watching it, and I was like, me and Brandon were watching it, and I was like, "Do you see that?" He was like, "No." I'm like, "She was right there." And like, it's not a jump scare, but it's just I'm more into creepiness than scariness, and something that can leave me just kind of like shuddering.
That stranger scene, man.
Yeah. Oh my, that is the best shot scene in all of cinema. In all of cinema, when he is just standing in that doorway while she is.
You just see him fuzzy in the background. It's not even focused on him.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. But yeah, I'm with Empty Vials. He says, I actually don't like pop out scary. I feel it's very gimmicky. I'm the same way. It's really, really cheap to me to just get me, like, have a bang. And Insidious 3, like, most of the scares, they deviated away from, like, you know why the Insidious series was made, right? Mm-hmm. It's made by the guys who made Saw. Okay. Same people. And they wanted to prove that they could scare people without using gore. So that's why there's no gore when you watch an Insidious film. And, but they went away from the more psychological pressing, like, tension, just to straight jump scares in Insidious 3, and it made me not like it very much. So, but back to my original point, and I'm trying to remember what I was saying. Just that creepiness factor of, like, I like feeling like something's has been done to me when I watch a film, and that's what I felt like with PT. Like, I sat down the controller and I was like, I'm scared to move. I feel like something's been done to me, and I'm also big into, like, fun horror. Like, I love Drag Me to Hell. It's not scary. It's fun. The ending of it's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Have you ever seen? Oh crap! Is it Who's Next?
Yeah.
With the rat. Have you watched that?
Yeah.
That's fun to me. It's a great movie. it's a great movie for what it is. It's not a great movie, but for what it is, it's a really good movie because it's fun. Like I like stuff like that. It doesn't. And here's the problem with any kind of horror media, whether it's no sleep stories on Reddit or watching a horror movie, playing a game, or whatever, is there is this middle ground you can get caught in between taking yourself serious and then having fun with it that too many people get caught up in. And the really, really good ones are the ones that pick a side and just stick on that side. Like Who's Next and Drag Me to Hell are good horror films to me because they pick we're a fun horror film and they just stick there. And they never try to take themselves too seriously. And every scene is built around this idea of who they are. And then movies like The Strangers and Sinister are take themselves very, very seriously. And they don't deviate from that by I don't like when films try to contrast horror with comedy. Which Insidious does that some with the guys that travel around with them, and that's okay. I give it a pass on that. Insidious isn't perfect by any means, but because I think horror should be contrasted with normalcy, and again, it's cheap to just because you made me laugh doesn't mean that the next scare is going to be that much worse. What you got to make me feel like is that everything's normal. So anyway, I have a lot of thoughts about horror.
Cool. I mean, I'm fine with that.
Can't tell. So, anyway, I did a lot of talking. What are your thoughts?
I said them.
Oh, you've said them all.
I mean, of what I look for into a horror movie, yes. They're a blast to me. I love getting scared.
And another thing is pacing in the horror genre. When we sat down to watch Sinister, I watched it with Ben, and Ben had already kind of told me the entire plot to it. But which only kind of matters in horror. It's more about the experience than the story, regardless. But he was all about Sinister because he's like, look, you're gonna have 10 minutes in the beginning of exposition, and then for an hour and 10 minutes after that, it just doesn't let up. And he was right. Like, that movie, through and through, is just... What's the other one I'm thinking of? There's Sinister. Is that the one where she claps?
Is that The Conjuring?
The Conjuring, that's the other one. Sinister's the one where he's writing the investigative novel.
Yeah, that's the one where he's looking at the picture.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I got myself confused there for a second. But, like, the pacing in that was like Cybernethy. What's up, Girly Whirly, who is now Cookie Waffle Girl.
Cookie Waffle Girl.
Cybernethy talks about those horror games or horror movies or horror in general that just strings one thing after another. And I felt like Sinister was kind of that. Whereas, like The Strangers, it was intense the entire time, but not every scene was incredibly intense except when Dennis shows up.
That's the thing. I was about to say that. It kind of loses me there. Because I just see Dennis.
Oh yeah,
I just see Dennis.
Yeah, that was an odd casting choice, especially for the amount of time he's in that movie. Mm-hmm. When was that movie? What year was that movie made? And how popular was It's Always Sunny at that time?
Wasn't it like incredibly popular right out the gate?
Yeah. So I think that movie was probably made around 3 or 4.
I guess, but I knew it was Dennis, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. What was that movie with John Cusack stuck at the hotel in the rain with the other strangers? I don't know. It had John Cusack. He's in a hotel, rain. I don't know what movie that is.
Room 43?
Sounds like a name of a film.
Room 34? Was it the Stephen King book? And then it had like Samuel L. Jackson in it?
I don't know. And he'll tell us in a second. You've played The Last of Us.
A little bit of it, yeah.
And what? And would you consider that to be horror? Where would you put that in the spectrum?
Suspense.
I'd
because you can still see what's ahead of you, kind of thing.
I'd put it in kind of the action thing. So you talked about Devil's Rejects, where like the enemy's in front of you, like the villain's in front of you, and you see him.
I mean, they're the main characters.
Yeah, yeah.
You're following alongside their terrible run of terror.
To me, a movie loses a lot of what horror is built on once I see who's causing it.
Mm.
I'm trying to think of an example. It's funny because The Strangers, you see them right off the bat. I don't lose nothing there. Is Tamara home? Yep, she sure is. I'll let you go see her, and I'm out. All right, just lock the door behind you. But Insidious 2. About an hour, maybe 15 minutes into the movie, you see the main monster, and I'm not scared of the main monster anymore after I see it fully. Which was why a scene like the scene where you're coming out of the bathroom in
The mirror shot.
in Allison Road.
Oh, okay.
When you're coming out of the bathroom and you see her off to the
Twitch.
left, just glitch in, or in PT when you're walking down the hall and you turn the corner. I never saw anybody else do this, and I say this every time I talk about PT. There was a scene where the chandelier is, where the refrigerator ended up being. I walked in there, I turned around, and it was either Lisa or some other ghost, probably Lisa, was looking over the balcony and just backed away. And it was like...
No one else has seen that?
well, I don't know. I never saw it in any of the playthroughs I've watched, but it just creeped me out so much because you just get a glimpse. You get a glimpse to know that there's something there that doesn't like you. I don't want to see it full on.
I think I might be onto something here.
He is on to something, Empty Vials. He's going to figure it all out.
Because he said he's in a room with a bunch of strangers. Wasn't that the premise of that 9 Dead movie? Was he in that?
I don't know.
I'm not a big John Cusack guy.
You sure it wasn't Joan Cusack? And you're
Oh.
not talking about Role Models?
John Cusack.
Wasn't that her in Role Models?
No, that was...
Oh, yeah, no. Dang it. I'm stupid. That wasn't Joan Cusack. That was the lady from Glee.
Yeah. Oh, Melissa Joan Hart was in that movie. 9 Dead.
Anyway, horror. I love it.
I do
can talk
too,
about
man.
it for days.
I need to watch more of it, but the wife...
I need to
But
watch
she's
more.
going to Indiana soon.
Maybe next week we can watch some
Son of a
stuff.
week.
I got some stuff on my instant queue on Netflix that I'm kind of interested in.
Beautiful.
I like I want to find something that's like the baby room again, because it was like,
I
that's
need to see
Spanish,
that.
it's foreign. I don't know if we'll see if it's still on Netflix, but it's scary as crap. It was scary as crap to me. The first half an hour is scary, then it just kind of becomes ridiculous. 1408 was the Room movie, but I'm talking about Identity.
Identity.
Never-
I'm not
never watched
familiar
it.
With that.
All right, that's 3 Topic Thursday.
Woo!
We're out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit that follow button. Find us on youtube.com/Player3Podcast and follow us right here on twitch.tv/Player3Podcast. You guys are awesome. Bye. And we'll stick around, and I'm going to scroll through the chat, see if I missed anything. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you are awesome, and I'm going to write down 1:40:30. It may have been more of a thriller, but with how bad some horror movies are nowadays. 1:40. Alright, got that. Gosh, dude. Now I just want to watch a horror movie. It's a dark, stormy night.
But you got a baby.
We do have a baby, so I can't. I don't have a baby.
Oh,
No.
jeez, you're next.
No.
Next.
That's such a good movie,
No,
dude.
you're next for the baby.
Either way. No,
It's
we're
a horror.
not.
It's a
We're not.
horror either
Personal.
way.
Yeah. At the end, when she takes that blender,
Wait, don't.
that movie's been out a long time.
Well, I didn't even.
Make it to the end.
No. There was a movie I was almost spoiled, but I decided not to. It was even older than that.
What movie was that?
I already forgot.
Plus, does it really matter how that movie ends?
It's about the experience.
It's not like a seminal classic, you know?
Seminole?
Yeah, seminal classic.
Like Native American
No,
classic?
that's Seminole. I'm saying Seminole. Strongly influencing later developments, overrelating or denoting.
Yeah, I mean.
But I'm talking about first definition here. We're not talking about second definition.
But are we?
We could be. Some people do that when they get real scared. Maybe it's called a fearection. This might be off topic, but I like characters with mysterious backgrounds and personalities. Well, a good horror is built around mystery, and it's built around not knowing, which is what's so awesome about PT. Is you get in there and it's like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what this is all about. Was this guy talking on the radio about a serial killer, not a serial killer, but a guy who murdered his family? And the fact the story changes halfway through, hangs himself with an umbilical cord. Come on, man.
And then you got those stories, those classic franchises that start horror and then end humor, like Friday the 13th, or I'm sorry, like a Nightmare on Elm Street and Chucky. Like started out really serious, but then once the mystery is done and you know who these people are, you know what their background is, you know what they do, where else do you go? It just gets ridiculous.
Because horror's not built on strong characters. Like, you don't need strong characters to have a good horror film. Strangers doesn't have strong characters. It's got a decent storyline, but I wouldn't call the characters strong or even likable. And so after so many iterations of it, you lose interest in it. So if you're not, and especially in those sorts of things where, like, Chucky is the character, Jason is the character, Michael Myers is the character, there's not much character development going on with the villains of these stories, and any character development that you can put in is going to be over the top and ridiculous. It's a doll. You can't characterize them. What's up, Taco Sauce 280? We're just talking about horror here, and then, but yeah. So, and I can see that now with Insidious 3, and what they're building on in that franchise is the, oh crap, what's that? Is it called? What's the other world called? Is it called The Other?
Oh, I'm not sure, man.
I can't remember what it's called now. The Further. That's it. Okay. They're trying to build on The Further, and they're developing the idea of The Further. But when you do that, you begin to lose the mystery of what made The Further creepy to begin with. Which The Further wasn't all that creepy.
Yeah, these black and white people.
Well, I don't know, man. The part where the family's sitting on the couch, and then they shoot themselves, and they're dead, but they're still grinning. That part's kind of creepy to me. Oh, Taco Sauce. We're talking about horror. Empty Vials. What about horror games? I feel like nothing has really done anything like PT, but I'm wondering if that's just because of modern graphics engine. That's part of it, and we talked about that when we first started talking about this topic. Was like the photorealism of PT made it kind of more real, but it also did something. It didn't rely on monsters. It didn't really rely on a villain. Like, Lisa's not a villain. Lisa's a monster, but you don't see her all that often, and she's only somewhat part of the story. It relied heavily on its atmosphere, and I guess it's hard to generate atmosphere if you don't have the graphical capabilities to do so.
Well, I mean, it also just has to go with the progression of time. I mean, like, he makes the mention that Silent Hill was scary. Yeah, because that's what we were used to. I mean, if you look at it now, it's just all a bunch of polygons and sharp corners, and it's not terrifying anymore.
But it's just like old school horror movies, Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like movies that were scary in the 70s, we don't really see as scary now. Like the original Evil Dead.
Yeah, the claymation at the end of it.
So, yeah. Like, people back in the day were like, man, this is terrifying.
It still is, though.
But Taco Sauce says they should stop making scary games and instead make happy games. Make love, let the world go round. BioShock, Empty Vials brings up BioShock, says that the atmosphere made that game scary. Mm-hmm. And it did. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There's that sense of hopelessness.
Yeah. And another thing about PT, getting back to Empty Vials' original point, was that it just came out of nowhere. It gets announced at Gamescom, say, go download it now. And it was kind of a rush effort on Twitch to see who could finish it first, to see what this thing was all about. And that, I think, added to the scariness of it as well. But I don't know what made it. You didn't get a chance to play it. You got to watch it. What do you think kind of set it apart from? As I don't remember anyone getting this excited over any horror game ever. Is there something distinguishing about it that you thought set it apart?
Well, Silent Hill is a big thing. When the first one came out, it was huge, and the second one came out, it was huge. Third one was good too, but then they started making games that weren't that great anymore. They didn't stand up to the hype. They weren't evolving. They should have. They weren't going forward like they should have. So it's not like you're saying, oh look, they're doing another Silent Hill game. No, they got people hyped on the actual game and then told us, hey, we're doing this again. Mm-hmm. We're bringing it back. It's going to be big again. So that was a great strategy to me. It's not saying, hey, here's Silent Hill. It's, what do you think of this? And this is what it is. So what I think set it apart is that the way they presented it. It was mysterious at first. It was something new, something interesting, because we're like, oh, this is great. What is it? I have no clue what it is. And then we got to associate it with something that people already loved and people already had a good time with in the past. I think it's just the way they presented it.
Yeah. I agree. I concur. For Topic Thursday.
For Topic Thursday.
I want to talk to you here in the after show about something.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about the rigmarole that was last week in all the news and all the stuff that's going of the last couple weeks that it's just been going on between just everything, not gaming related, world related. Mm-hmm. You and I, we're not real big in the social media world. You know, like I have a Facebook. I'll get on there and peruse. I can get on there less and less because it angers me. The only thing I really keep up with is Twitch and our Twitter page. My question to you: when you have a kid, and your kid gets older, and they're like, Dad, can I get a Facebook 2.0 page or whatever that's going to be the popular thing? What are some rules that you're going to lay down? What are like your pet peeves when it comes to social media? Wow. I want to complain about social media for a little bit.
Well, what are my complaints about it? Well, social media makes people feel like anything they have to say is important to someone, when it's really not. Reposting something that's looked cool or saying an inspirational quote for the day doesn't mean people are gonna be like, wow, this person's so great. No, I don't like that. I don't like scrolling and seeing like, oh, if you love God, repost this. If you love the devil, ignore.
Keep on scrolling.
Like, what? What is that saying? It's saying, look at this. I didn't just scroll over it. I'd be like, dude, how old are you? And I'll say, I'm 12. I'm like, well, you don't need jack on the internet. It's a dangerous place. You see things on there. So I'd be like, no, not until you're a little bit older, because social media is dumb.
Dumb. Well, let's say he's 16. He's like, Dad, finally got my my Facebook page going up. 16, all right for you?
Sure, I'll take
16,
that.
16, good
I'll
for you.
that.
What are some ground rules you're laying down? Saying, hey, kid, not just rules of like I'll ground you if you do this, but just hey, just so that people don't hate you. Like I hate most people.
Okay. Don't just repost things because it sounds good. Fact check it before you repost it.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Hold
on. Let's stop on that for a second. That is one of my favorite things in the universe is when people post either a half truth or they post an Onion article thinking that it's like real.
Yes.
My favorite Onion article recently was Honda recalls 1991 Civics because you really should have bought a new car by now. But yeah, when people just post random stuff, what was the thing I saw the other day?
Obama's making work camps for teens. No!
Oh my gosh! And I'm like, they probably should and get a job, teens. So, yeah, fact checking. I like that. But go ahead.
It makes people dumber and look dumb. Let's see. Another thing is. Thinking their opinion is incredibly important on a major hot topic that they know very little about.
Yes.
That makes you look like an idiot. Like this whole Confederate flag thing. They're like, you're not racist. We're not racist. We're rebels. Okay. Sure. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I love the point you made that like social media has tricked people into thinking that we care what you're talking about. Like, because everyone seems to think that they have this equal platform of voice, and it's like, well, just because I can press enter and people will listen, people will read it, that means I have something I care about. I enjoy platforms like this more often, where we get on here and we talk and we're sharing our opinions and stuff, but we only get the attention of people that like what we have to say or care what we have to say. Like they come in and they listen to us, and it makes it cool. You weren't here Monday. We had a dude jump in and was like, "You guys only have 20 people watching you," which 20 is a huge day for us.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
He's like, "You only have 20 people watching you. Nobody cares what you say." And I didn't have to say anything. The chat jumped in and was like, "Looks like 20 people would care what they have to say," and blah blah. Like,
Wow.
but Facebook and stuff like that, where it's kind of a one-way interaction. This is two-way interaction, where we are putting content out there, and people can respond to us in almost real time, from what they as they're watching. And so it's a two-way medium. And if you don't like what I'm saying, if you don't like what we're doing, then you just back out. You go find another channel. Mm-hmm. And so there's accountability within this. And on social media, there's no accountability. Like on Facebook and MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, those sorts of things. You just post it, and you think that just because it goes up on a wall that people care. And it gives you a voice and an ability to be opinionated on things that you aren't necessarily educated enough to be opinionated about. I also would tell my son or daughter or niece or nephew, because I'm not going to have kids, I would tell them, I would say, no one's mind has ever been changed on an internet argument. I really want to give the example that I normally say, which is that arguing on the internet is like the Special Olympics.
Oh, my gosh.
You might win, but you're still retarded. Non-typical. Because I would love to see one person who is like, yes, I was baptized because of a comment thread on Facebook. Or yes, my mind has been completely changed on fill in the topic because of the YouTube comments, which, by the way, is the pits of hell of the internet. Okay? If I spend 15 seconds on YouTube comments a day, my day is ruined. So, ruined. All right, I'm going to try to read this wall of text here you got. You read it and then summarize it for us once you're done reading it. And I'm going to continue to talk. So, yes. Yeah, so I would tell them not to argue on the internet. And like this whole the reposting thing gets on my nerves. I don't know. It's really altered our sense of community and connection with one another, and we begin to feel like, well, I have 900 Facebook friends, or we've got 180 Twitch followers, and so I'm connected. But yet we bypass all normal social constructs and ways of interacting and dealing with one another when we get on there. Like, we're highly offensive. We only care about our opinion. We only care about being right. And it's like, you would not say these things and act this way if you were sitting across the table from an individual who held different beliefs than you. So why are you acting this way on the internet? And we don't know how to interact with one another. One of my favorite things about what we do here is, yeah, it's social and yeah, it's internet based, but it's brought the 5 of us who work on it, 6 of us counting Gary, it's brought us all closer together. And whereas we sit behind and we only put the best things about our lives on Facebook, or even worse, the people who sit behind and put the worst things about their life on Facebook, which I wish there was a don't care button that I could hit. That would be good, and it just alerts them. And it's like, I got 6 likes on this thing, but I also got 140 don't cares. So that outweighs it. We need more of a thumbs up, thumbs down system on social media. Continue. What did he say?
He said that, I believe it was his 14-year-old nephew. His sister said that you can have a Facebook, but we can jump on there and look at it whenever we want. And they have the right to block friends that post a picture they think is not appropriate. But the thing he finds funny is that they're blocking his real friends and leaving the strangers on there that he has friended untouched. Which is
how they hope they leave their son.
Without friends and with strangers?
No, untouched.
Oh. We also made the point that the 21-year-old nephew could care less about social media. And I think that's true. When we grow up, when I was a teenager, I was all about MySpace. Like, I would update that. Like, I was do code and stuff on it.
I wish I knew if my MySpace still existed.
But here we are, 25, 26. Like,
Part of that
it's not a big deal.
Part of that is because those were kind of our realms, like MySpace, even Facebook in the very beginning. I love Facebook in the very beginning, but then they got flooded by old people.
Moms.
And when my mom is calling me and was like, I messaged you on Facebook, or you didn't like this picture I posted you on Facebook, or hey, I saw this thing on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. Facebook is for when I'm at my computer. I don't like talking about Facebook when we're talking with one another. Taco Sauce is very shocked.
He's saying, dang, he's 30. I'm almost 30.
I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20. How old are you, Taco Sauce? That's the important question. And how many of these things have you done? I also love the people who just post things thinking that they're hilarious. And like friends are for comedy. I got 900 friends on Facebook, whatever, 500 friends. I don't know how many friends I have on Facebook, probably 120. But we don't all have the same sense of humor. I save the comedy for when I'm with the people with like-minded humor. I don't find what you post on Facebook funny. There are very few things I'm like, haha, he's 18 and he thinks 30 is dang old. I just looked up my MySpace. It's still there. All right, we're going to go find my MySpace.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, we're doing this live.
What would be the slash URL, though?
Oh, I have no idea. Maybe I can do myspace.com. All right.
The login stuff still?
Probably.
What is this? It's like
Justin Timberlake bought it and turned it into this. He's a good dude. Let's see if I know this. Here's my old email. Oh, no, that's not it. Because it was Hotmail. What's up? What's up, baby? Not MAIL. It was MALE.
Hotmail.
If this works, okay, it didn't work. Okay. This is live television, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if that works. All right. You remember the blogs on MySpace?
Yeah.
I don't even want to begin to read.
All right.
Oh, I hope this is me. No, that is definitely not me. That is totally not me.
Oh,
that's a LinkedIn Jeff Croft.
Well, didn't they purge it? Like
they did purge it, and if you didn't have it,
check for mine, dude.
Okay, but your name is so generic. Would it be Dizzy?
It'd be Cooper, and then just put WV or something.
All right, we're looking. Are you Angie John Cooper?
Oh my gosh, they got me.
You got me. You got me. All right.
If only.
All right. Social media. I just wanted to talk about it for a minute. It's been on my mind. You ready to get out of here?
Yes,
I know
sir.
You got plans with your wife, and she tried to call you.
She
and
did.
Didn't send us a picture. If you liked us, hit that follow button. And also grab a piece of paper and a pen. I'm going to give you Seth's telephone number so you can hit him up.
But I want to see what this picture is.
Yeah, I'll give you a minute.
I'd say this was one of my better games. Ha ha.
Ha ha.
He went 20. Wait, no, that's not him. He went 30. 1.4 KD. And only 6 assists.
Dude, there needs to be a double thing on Destiny because I'm always like 15 kills, 12 assists, or something like that. It's always crazy. Hold on, I was going to say something. If you go down underneath the video, we've got our gamer tags and all that sort of stuff. We have our tip jar. If you want to leave us a tip, you can do all that sort of stuff. If you leave a $5 tip, you can pick a question for Random Question of the Week on Monday or 3 Topic Thursday on Thursday. If you prefer one or the other, then you can. If you prefer one or the other, then you can designate in your little note on your tip stuff. But youtube.com/player3podcast, twitch.tv/player3podcast, and then we're on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, all that sort of stuff. Seth's telephone number is 2